This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 17th day of July in the year 2019. Here is what we're tracking tonight. Opposition leader Bara Jagdeo has not found favor with the two suggestions put forward by President David Granger to be possibly included in his list of nominees for the position of Elections Commission Chairman. The president had suggested the names of retired Judge Claudette LeBennett and attorney Cassandra Alves to be possibly included in the opposition leader's list of 6 names not unacceptable to the president. Having turned down the presidential suggestions, Mr. Jagdeo has now put forward 4 additional names to be considered. Already the president has given clearance to 4 earlier names put forward by Mr. Jagdeo. From the 4 additional names now put forward, it is being hoped that the two sides will hammer out and agree to 2 names to be added to the other 4, and the 6 could be submitted to the president officially. The two sides have been tight-lipped about the 4 names that have been already found not to be unacceptable to the president. The two sides are hoping to wrap up the process soon. More news coming up in just a moment.
What would you do with 20 gigs of data? Get double the data this summer with GTT. On your first activation of a 7-day data plan or more, you get double the data. Yup, double the data. Activate and enjoy. Opt into a Do More plan this summer and receive double the data. Get a chance to win daily cash prizes and much more, plus a chance to win the grand prize of $100,000 in cash. Only with GTT, there's so much more data to love. Do more this summer.
Summer is just around the corner, and this year we're giving you a Visacation. It's easy. Get your GBTI Visa card and travel to your dream summer destinations or shop all you want online. With Visacation, you get to win prizes when you use your GBTI Visa card between June 1st and August 31st. Don't have a Visa card? Visit your nearest GBTI branch or go to www.gbtibank.com. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Motor gasoline grades are determined by the octane rating of the fuel. The octane rating of a fuel is the standard measure of the performance of a motor gasoline. Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline is a high-octane premium gasoline. Fuel up and drive with Super 95 from Guy Oil.
95. Fuel it up and drive! Mommy, can we go to Kids Jam?
Son, I was planning to surprise you. Of course I'm going to take you. It's the biggest kids event of summer.
I can't wait to see the guys from Paw Patrol, SpongeBob, and Toy Story.
And Serenity will get to take pictures with Elsa and all the other princesses.
Really?
Yes. I'm also super excited about the games I'll get to play with my favorite guy and the exciting prizes up for grabs.
It's gonna be the best day ever.
Kids Jam, July 28th at the Everest Cricket Ground.
Welcome back. Police Commissioner Leslie James has announced that he will soon announce a new head of the Special Organized Crime Unit of the Guyana Police Force. The announcement could come within the next 24 hours. Assistant Police Commissioner Sidney James, who headed the unit, was recently sent on leave in the wake of the scathing findings of a probe into the management of the unit. That probe unearthed several issues surrounding the management of operational funds of SOCU. While the police commissioner has not offered any insight into the findings of the probe, the Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan has raised concerns of his own and has said that the findings were damning. A decision was taken by the top cop to send the head of the unit on leave, and from all appearances now he will not be returning to the unit. SOCU has a number of cases before the court related to fraud, money laundering, and even the sale and purchase of government lands by former government ministers. The unit is also involved in a number of other high-profile investigations. While the Private Sector Commission has released a second and longer statement on the consequential orders of the Caribbean Court of Justice in the no confidence and GCOM matters. In the statement issued today, the PSC said it is the considered view of the body that the responsibility to uphold the Constitution and its provisions on the passage of a no-confidence motion abides first and foremost with President David Granger, and that it is his bounden and inherent political duty to uphold the responsibility. The Private Sector Commission said it wishes to note that some 7 months have passed since the passage of the no-confidence motion, and the provisions following the passage are yet to be acted upon. The Guyana Court of Appeal had invalidated the no-confidence motion, thus returning the government to normal business back in March. It was that decision that forced the move to the CCJ and the decision that followed. The Private Sector Commission in its statement said Article 106.7 of the Constitution leaves no room for interpretation in the view of the PSC, when it states that notwithstanding its defeat, the government shall remain in office and shall hold an election in 3 months or such a longer period as the National Assembly by resolution supported by not less than 2/3 of the votes of all the elected members of the National Assembly determine. The private sector says once the GCOM chairman has been appointed, it's incumbent therefore upon GCOM to prepare itself for the holding of elections within the period prescribed in the Constitution. The Guyana Police Force is continuing the observance of its 180th anniversary, and at an award ceremony this morning, the force honored and rewarded those members who have been recognized for positive action in the execution of their duties. Awards were handed out to outstanding ranks from every division and members of the policing groups. Police Commissioner Leslie James said the police force will continue to recognize the outstanding work of its officers, especially those who go beyond the call of duty.
Recognition and or reward for positive actions invariably leads to more positive actions. May I also hasten to state that equally, mediocrity would not and should not attract action or more so rewards. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason for our attendance at this ceremony today is to reward positive action. We are here to recognize the stellar performances of our policemen and women, those individuals that allow us to maintain that trust forward, those that proceeded beyond the call of duty, and those who clearly understand their roles, functions, and responsibilities.
The top cop explained that over $19 million was paid out as part of the awarding of the officers today. Let's tell you now that with fatal accidents occurring almost weekly, the traffic chief is indicating that the police force will continue its best efforts to educate drivers about speeding, especially late at night. Chief Lyndon Isles said that most of the fatal crashes have been occurring in the wee hours of the night and early morning, and speeding continues to be a main factor.
Well, I must say to you, if you would have noticed a hike in fatal accident, but if you take a close look at how these accidents, the time of the day, there is nothing we can do.
Reported that his department has been filing more cases against reckless use of the roadways and the flouting of traffic laws. There will be tougher enforcement of the laws, he assured. Road accidents remain the leading cause of death in Guyana, and speeding is the top contributing factor to road accidents and make up the bulk of cases taken before the courts. In the courts, after being charged just last year in connection with 4 armed robbery cases, 20-year-old Shamar Charles was back in court today to face 3 additional charges. The youth is now accused of robbing Guyana's motor racing star Christian Jeffrey. The Water Street Agricola resident 6th of May 2019 at Agricola Public Road while being armed with a gun. The youth robbed Jeffrey of a gold chain worth $400,000, his wallet worth $10,000, and $15,000 in cash. Charles is also accused of robbing another man, Jermaine Innes, of his gold chain worth $440,000. That latest incident occurred on July 10th on Lombard Street. And he's also accused of robbing a young woman of her mobile phone and a gold chain and a gold handband. The accused pleaded not guilty to the 3 robbery charges. The court was also told that he was identified by all 3 of the victims during an ID parade. The magistrate remanded him to jail until later this month, when the matters will continue. Across the Region is coming up next.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane in East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013, with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000-barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
New Amsterdam, get ready for the year-to-year ladies event. Heineken presents Motivated 4. Motivated 4, the ultra-premium Heineken party. Saturday, 27th July 2019 at Club Eclipse, Main Street, New Amsterdam. Enjoy Heineken bucket specials all night, the Heineken girls, and giveaways. Store opens from 9 p.m. with vibes by Father Moon, DJ Von Hyde, Gully Ross and Diamond from Team Fusion, Team Lockdown, and DJ Slaughter from Jungling. Motivated 4, Saturday, 27th July at Club Eclipse. Powered by Heineken, Crumb Vibes, Tradition Lifestyle, Westsiders Entertainment, 88.5 Rock FM, Little Rock Sweets, Candy Boss, and Rush Energy Drink.
It's comedy with no apology. Mommy, baby, daddy, maybe.
Right. What? No. If the child born ugly, my granddaughter, put it on him.
Put it on him? Me, you? Watch me with the say no. Watch, Joanna, I show you something. Let your grandmother back up. You know how we settle the problem is.
Settle what? Like 2 years domestic abuse. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
An all-star cast of singers, dancers, and comedians will rock the house. July 20th and 21st, the National Cultural Center will be in an uproar from 8 p.m. Tickets on sale now at Andrew's Supermarket, Nigel's, and the Cultural Center box office. Proudly presented by Godfrey Naughton in association with Mike James Drama Group. Mommy, baby, daddy, maybe.
Well, it's what y'all waiting for. Go and get your tickets.
No job, not working on Juve. Tell them we say
592 Beer Emancipation Juve. Come out and celebrate with free powder, free paint, free water, and free beers. Free beers all night. Early bird tickets $2,000. Party with Guyana's best DJs. DJ Aquilo, DJ Energy, Gully Ras, Diamond, DJ Denzel, DJ David, Selector Face, DJ Ace, and Father Moe. 592 Beer Emancipation Juve, July 31 at National Racket Center. Sponsored by Integrated Security, Crystals, Creole Corner, 592 Beer, and 94.1 Boom FM.
What is this?
Across the region right now, the European Union is preparing to impose more sanctions on Venezuela, targeting officials who are accused of being involved in torture and other human rights violations. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said in a statement earlier today that it is working with the UN to make sure that human rights are respected in Venezuela, following reports of abuses by the security forces. The EU official said the EU is ready to start work towards applying targeted measures for those members of the security forces involved in torture and other serious violations of human rights. The EU has had measures in place since 2017, including an embargo on arms and on equipment for internal repression. It also slapped 18 officials with travel bans and asset freezes in Venezuela. Over in Trinidad and Tobago, the Commissioner of Police there, Gary Griffith, is urging citizens not to pay to have their gun license application approved. He was responding to calls by Member of Parliament Prakash Ramandar for the system of providing gun license for law-abiding citizens to be made more efficient after 2 incidents in which civilians shot reported criminals. The police commissioner, in a message to Newsday, described the call from the Member of Parliament as old news and request. He said it is already being done. He noted that in the last year, the number of persons receiving firearms approval is 8 times more than what was experienced prior to August of last year. However, there are over 15,000 applicants who have applied over the last 15 years, most never receiving even a response. He said he's adhering to his obligation by doing what is required, but in a similar manner, he said the country must carefully scrutinize every applicant prior to their approval for a gun license in Trinidad and Tobago. And finally tonight, international news. A U.S. judge has sentenced Mexican drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman to life in prison plus 30 years. The 62-year-old was found guilty of 10 charges, including drug trafficking and money laundering, by a federal court in New York back in February. He escaped the Mexican jail through a tunnel in 2015, but was later arrested. He was extradited to the U.S. in 2017. He is a former head of the Sinaloa cartel, which officials say was the biggest supplier of drugs to the U.S. Speaking through an interpreter just before Wednesday's sentencing, Guzman said in the Brooklyn courtroom that his confinement in the U.S. had amounted to torture, and he said he had received an unfair trial. The life sentence was the minimum that he was facing. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.